couple adventures on Facebook. And we are starting again, after some technical difficulties, with the patience of my good friend, Sandeep Joshi, who's an artist.
Hi, guys.
And SJ, so SJ here is going to tell us a little bit about himself, what he does, how he's gotten started, and then we're going to go into a series of questions for him. SJ, thank you so very much for your patience. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, and thanks for this opportunity to be one of the first to do this interview. So I'm excited.
Thank you.
And so I was born and raised in Canada. And since a kid, I was always creating, picking up pencils and learning how to draw. And I just kept going, right? But I wasn't finding out who I really was as an artist in the first few years. I think the most important thing is to find exactly who you are, and then you'll definitely have passion and excel at that passion. So the most important part about being creative is to use your passion. And also, what I do usually is a lot of letter work. So graffiti, text design. People kept saying graphic design, and I said, no, I've never gone to school for graphic design. I was self-taught. Just every day, I would encourage people to challenge themselves and learn something new every single day in their creative outlet. So it's very important, to just open those channels up.
So have you tried anything in the past that got you to this, or is this something that just has always attracted you?
Well, it actually, since I used Periscope, I went through a little bit of troubles. So I took time off work because I was going through severe depression and anxiety, and I've never had that happen to me, and I just kind of ignored it because it seems like for mental health awareness, it seems like a lot of it gets brushed under the rug. And so I was always hiding it from my coworkers and from people, around me, my surroundings. But then they said, we've been there, we've been through what you've been through. And I was like, oh, wow. So when I started Periscope, I was trying to reach people by drawing things for them, like drawing their names and creating smiley faces in there.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so it stemmed from that when I started developing the characters, the lettering. So a lot of people who actually were from the beginning to now have seen the progress of my detailing and what I've learned from the beginning. It was just simple pencil drawings and sketches of names, and then now it's become full detail, watercolor, Prismas, Sharpies, all combined. So it's a beautiful, I'd encourage people to use Periscope or any kind of social media if you do have a talent, to get it out there, and let the world see what you're capable of and how you can reach some. So it's very important.
Yeah, I completely agree, because that's actually how I found my passion. Is I've always known that I love to paint and I love to create things, but
Awesome.
Like this painting behind me here.
Yes.
This is one of the things that I painted on Periscope.
Beautiful.
With people, encouraging you. And it seems kind of counterintuitive as an artist to get on and actually show people what you're doing, because most of the time we're so secretive or unsure of our work that we don't want to share it. And getting onto Periscope is actually something that really brings it out more in us and encourages us a lot more. Yes, you're going to have people who are, trolls that are downright rude, but for the most part, people encourage you and say, hey, yeah, wow, that's great, that's amazing. And like you said, when you first started, I remember you doing it for the awareness, and your work has progressed and becomes so much more detailed in just a short year. It really is not that much time, but because you're doing so much. Have you had, obviously Periscope has been a positive influence in your life, but how have you dealt with the negative? As on Periscope, you're going to have trolls, and in your real life, you have people saying, "Oh, go get a real job," or you're never going to make any money at that, or why are you doing it? How have you dealt with that negative input or a negative feedback from people?
Yes. One thing I've learned from reading books and just watching videos on YouTube is you have to deflect that kind of energy. You have to, don't absorb it. Don't let it affect you mentally. What I've done is I've deflected it and multiplied it into 2 times positive. So every time, I've had 2 trolls ever since I started. 2 trolls in my broadcasts, and I think one was intentionally put into my broadcast from someone else. So basically I told them I was going to pray for them. I wish them all the best in life, and whatever their journey is in life, and they left. So they I don't have time. Like, honestly, I just don't have time for that kind of energy. If you're focused on reaching or your goals or reaching your targets in life, you can't let that affect you. It does at times on Periscope, because I see people coming in and out for no reason. It's gotten worse on Periscope, I've noticed, with a lot of bug issues, and there's like emojis coming up from people, and I was like confused. But at the end of the day, I'm here to create, and I'm here to focus on some major goals in my life at this point. So you can't let it affect you. The other thing too is, at work, when people do tell me that, this guy, I literally never said anything bad about him or anything like that, and I was always like, hey, how are you doing, right? Because I work in finance, which is like the opposite of
Complete
creativity.
opposite.
Yeah, so he said, what are you doing? Why don't you go to school? Why don't you? I said, I already went to school. He's like, well, why don't you? I said, I'm doing art on the side for my fans, my friends, supporters. He said, that's just a side business. I'm like, no, it's not a side business, because I'm gonna make it a big business. And he walked away. And that's the thing. Deflect any negative energy, absorb positive energy, and that'll really change your mindset, right? So if you'll get on track, and people will be there to support you throughout the path, right? Who are always been around. So
I completely agree.
yeah,
It's great having a good support system. It's great having a community, and it doesn't have to be an actual physical people, in real life community. It can be a virtual community that keeps you
yes,
going, that keeps you, engaged, that gives you constructive criticism about your work. So sorry about that. And
okay.
it really makes a difference when you have those type of people in your life that allow you to be able to open yourself up, share your work, and
Absolutely right.
continue on. Yeah. So let's get on to like sources of inspiration. Where do you get your inspiration? Where do you get your ideas?
I think a lot of the inspiration comes from just pushing the envelope, right? So you have to inspire yourself at times. You have to be very focused on what you're doing. But Les Brown is absolutely amazing. Some of the words he says, to challenge yourself. You've been given these gifts, you've been given these talents, so don't let them go to the graveyard with you. Okay, a lot of people are scared because they think that they're gonna fail at their talent, and they think that they're wasting their time. But to me, you're not wasting your time. Some other people are appreciative of what you're creating. I didn't realize that until I came on Periscope, because my city is not really into the arts. It looks like they're growing now, trying to get it out there, but we're an oil and gas city. Like, we focus on oil and gas primarily. So I was becoming depressed. I was like, I have something here, but I just don't know how to get it out there. So you need to take advantage of these apps, but also at the same time, whatever motivates you, whether it's music, listening to motivational speakers. Will Smith is another inspiration to me, because he works so hard. Okay, he works so hard, and he said there's no reason to have a plan B, because there's only plan A. And he also, there's so many things he says that make sense to me, and I'm like, he's right. And also, look at the level he's done, how he can transform himself from one role to another role. And he says that you must be slightly delusional, because the world and your surroundings wants you to live your life like this. Okay, so you have to, you raise a family, you pay a mortgage, you take vacations once in a while, but a lot of people aren't using their creativity and excelling at their creativity while paying their mortgage, while raising their kids. So I think that Les Brown is great. Will Smith, Gandhi. There's so many different ones in this world. So,
what about are there any artists or creatives on Periscope in particular that you have found that inspire you? That was a question.
Yeah, like I realized that I didn't know who Juan Navarro, and I realized that he's like the same as me, but he's in the States. So I was kind of surprised. Like, we're both similar people, and we just love to reach out to people by creating through our lettering and our artwork. And he's developing brands, and I'm developing brands, and it's like he called me his bigger, or his little brother or something. But it's funny because I'm older than him.
Yeah. I'm actually hoping to interview him. So that's,
I thought that was hilarious.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So now
there's a few in the community.
So is there anyone else in particular that you can think of off the top of your head? I know that, you know, we've got Juan Navarro is great. Love Monsters is his brand. Anyone else that you can think of that you can? I have a hard time remembering handles. I know people's names.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I know you as SJ, but when it comes to a handle, I'm like, I have no idea, you know, or I see Tom, I can't remember his handle. I think it's like Impulse something.
Impulse away.
Yes. Okay. So give me people that you, if you know their handles, you know, share their handles. If you don't, then, you know, we can look them up and we can put them on the website so people can follow them. But can you think of any others that have influenced your work or that, you know, are inspirations to you?
I think that you said, Tom, like even you for doing this interview with me, I mean, that's huge for me, okay? Because that's the community, right? So we're trying to get this community together. And I think that it needs to become stronger to embrace our talents. Like Tom Impulse 08, I have a drawing which I put his name on when we hit the million heart mark. So it's in my book as something that's really special. So I have kept track of who's been very supportive, and I've, you know, put their names down. I remember in the group, you know, I felt something like you were feeling a little down, so I wanted to do something special for the group and for you, just to kind of get that group community vibe going. That's a positive vibe. So I'm trying to think of even Debbie, you know, like what she's doing with her group is she's strong. She's a strong woman, very creative. And I think that if you just ignore a lot of the noise that's outside and you just stick to your plan, you're going to grow. And I told her that. I said, you know, I think it's DRM14 is her handle. So you have to follow these people. You have to follow Little Debbie's crew. I told her, you know, I'll be in to support a lot of artists from time to time. But like you said, we're always busy. But if we have the time, we can always try to share it on Twitter. All it takes is a simple share. She has a couple handles, I believe. It's like,
yeah, Little Debbie's Creative Crew on Facebook is a great.
There you go. Yeah. Creative Underground. Right.
Creative Underground. Yeah, Creative Underground. Creative Underground is my group. I don't promote it as much because I've got so much that I'm doing, but it is part and parcel with Little Deb's Creative Crew because we've started it together.
Yes.
I had someone ask, I think it was Max, ask, you know, what is art? What is art according to you? You know, and how does it move you forward?
You know, I used to just draw, and now I realize that my reason for waking up is to make a difference in this world by reaching people. So, every single name I've drawn, I've found out who they are, just a little bit about their background, and like they have families, they're cancer survivors, they're, you know, they've gone through severe depression. Some have colitis, some, you know, it's just unbelievable how many different people are in this world if you just reach out to them. And you know, it hits my heart. Like I get really emotional when I talk about this because I would just draw their names and just say, you know, I just want to, you know, release this anxiety and try to do some therapy. But then I found out a lot about people, and I'd send them out packages just to reach them. And I think it just means you do things from your heart, don't expect anything in return. And someone told me altruism, and I didn't realize that, you know, that's called altruism. And you just do it, you know. And that's art to me, is like waking up with a purpose every day. I'm like, I go to work and I'm just like, okay, who am I going to try to make happy today? Who am I going to like reach out to today? And it's like, you know, that's all I care about. That's my life. That's, you know, in finance, I'm looking at that person who's, you know, they're not really enjoying their lives, and let's try to surprise them at work. Let's while they're have their head down, I'll draw something for them. And, you know, they're just, wow, you know. So that's a beautiful thing, because you can create something from this nothing into something that someone is like, wow. So that's amazing to me. That's amazing.
And it's nice to be able to create something that takes us just a few minutes of our time to be able to make someone else smile when they're having a bad day. And that
Exactly.
it actually goes forward, because then that person does some small thing for the next person and some small thing for the next person, and moving
Yeah,
on.
it's like
You know,
pay it
it really
forward.
does. So, and I'm okay. So on to the next thing. We all have trouble with motivation, focus, procrastination,
Yes.
having too many projects. How do you deal with these things when they arise? I mean, obviously they're all different things, and there may be different ways of you dealing with them. But as a whole, when it
Mhm.
comes to things that throw you in your road, and how do you work through those things?
I use music, like art, healing to the brain. You can listen to all kinds of different types of music, whatever fits you. But some of my heroes are from like the '90s, like Tupac. Right, a lot of people found him controversial, but his work ethic was ridiculous in the studio. Eminem, for an example. I listen to everything, right? So Nirvana, when Kurt Cobain was in his peak. Um, but you just have to find that music that triggers your endorphins. There's actually something on YouTube called I Release Endorphins, if you want to check it out. This guy made some videos that's like medicine for your brain. So if you're feeling down, or you're feeling like, oh, I got a mental block or something, these things can help give you that vitamins. I call them vitamins for the brain, because it really heals your brain, and it actually gets you, your heart beating, your adrenaline going, and then you get focused. And that's what I found to be really effective. Or even going for a walk. Like if you go for a walk and just go into nature, look at your surroundings. That will really open your eyes and get you back on track, in my opinion. Um, Also eating healthy, to get your brain function properly. Omegas are good for your brain to help kind of get those creative juices flowing as well. But anytime you have a mental block, you are the only person who can get yourself out of it. You can have people telling you, SJ or Tammy, you can do this, you can do this, but it's up to you to do it, right? So I just take a break, get some music on, and I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning drawing all my days off. And it's almost like live your life as if it's your last day. I know it sounds cliche, but it's like if you have a gift or something in your life, let's say you're even an engineer, or an architect, give that gift to its fullest potential to give back to society, and say, people rely on this, people need this, I have to do this. So it's very important to think like that.
I agree. I
Yeah,
especially agree with the
awesome.
eating healthy and the no, I mean everything that you just said is perfect. I'm a big one for going out and putting my toes in the grass and reconnecting to the earth. I go out and I get a lot of inspiration from the trees and from, picking up leaves and stuff, but that's me. So it's not everybody that's into that, but
Yes.
those of us who are, that is a great way for us to reconnect. And I completely agree with that. Um, so you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but I want to go back to it. When did you decide you wanted to share your work with the world, and how did that make you feel, and how did you overcome that? Because I know for myself, I was terrified. I was honestly scared shitless. I was like, oh, I don't think I want to do this. I don't want to get out into the world. But then once I did,
Hmm.
the more I did it, I felt more comfortable. And I don't know if everybody's like that. How did you decide, and how did you go through with it?
The first few broadcasts, I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. Like I saw 3 people, 4 people. I'm like, oh, are these real people? And I'd like click on their profiles. I'm like, they are. So, but these, if this was 10 years ago, like I'm trying to catch up to this technology now, because I know in the past they didn't have this kind of accessibility to the world, right? So I figured, uh, live streaming is the future, and it's also a way to grow your audience, grow your credentials, and all that. But I wanted to do it primarily to because of the anxiety that I went through, because of the downturn. I was like, this is a great idea to try to, share what I have inside with other people who could be potentially interested in what I'm doing, and learn. Like, I really wanted to educate people on how to draw, how to do these things. And they were telling me that, this is great, you're doing something good. So I continued to broadcast. I felt more comfortable. I never had anyone tell me this kind of stuff before. So with this opportunity to broadcast, and if you are willing to broadcast, you should do it, because it's here. It's the present now, right? You can promote your website through here. You can tell people to follow you on Facebook through broadcasting. You can put it in your bio. People can click the link to your Facebook by simply pressing the button. And it's so easy for everyone to do it now. And that motivates me even more, right? So it gives me that motivation that time was then, this is now, and I'm really trying to reach those people now. Right. So
And
people who are younger are very lucky to have this opportunity, and they should take advantage of it if they like, I want to be an artist for a living, or I want to be a businessman for a living, or an entrepreneur or something like that. Use these apps, like take advantage, and who knows, 10 years from now, you could be on top, right? So that's the future. This is the future of technology, and it's going to get better from here, I think.
I agree. And I also agree with your comment about, young people wanting to do this. I think they take it for granted that this is, no, I know they take it for granted that this is something that's, because it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Apps are all over the place.
Yes.
But for those of us who are a little bit older, who were here before all this stuff, we realize what it's doing. We realize the potentiality of it.
Yes.
The first time I got on Periscope, I was bouncing off the walls because I told my husband, I told Roy, I'm like, guys, I'm like, baby, this is going to be huge. I mean, it's going to be absolutely huge. And yes, there are people who are on Periscope who have blasted it and have huge followings and have been on shorter than I have, but I don't promote myself as much as I want to. I like my community to grow organically. I like my community to be more artists, creative.
Yes. Yep.
And so I don't push for me to be shared with the world unless you're creative and you're interested in what I'm saying, what I'm doing, what I'm showing you. If I'm a businesswoman, but I'm not a businesswoman first. I'm an artist first. And so sharing the work with the world is our top priority, and getting ourselves out there. And like you said, with getting on here and getting comfortable,
it's very important. Yeah,
is very right. And making mistakes is very natural. And I think with live streaming, it's a wonderful thing because you can show people your truth, your honesty, your authenticity, and you're going to have more people when you mess up than if you give them something that's edited, that's perfect, that has no flaws. Because honestly, we're all flawed.
No one's perfect.
No. And how many times have we had to add in a word because we didn't spell something right, or had to readjust a painting because something was missing, or we've done a painting that we absolutely can't stand, and then the next time we go over it and we're like, oh my God, okay, it's fixed.
Yeah, that's right.
On Periscope, we have the ability to show people who are just getting to be creative that it's not a perfect system, that it's not a perfect world, and you start out with, Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo or Rubin kind of
course
works. You work up to that. So that leads into my question. My next question:
was great.
What kind of thank you. What kind of advice would you give to someone who's feeling that they aren't creative or wants to get started in a creative field? What kind of advice would you give them?
I'd just say, take your time. A lot of people end up buying, supplies that they think because they're buying the best quality supplies that they're going to become the best artist or something. But you're the person who's doing the artwork behind the supplies. So you have to it's step by step. It's a process. Nothing does come easy. And don't compare yourself, like when you're doing your artwork. Try not to compare yourself to other people. You can at times, but I think if you just focus on your own creativity and say, look, I'm getting better. I think I'm onto something better now. Document this stuff. So if you want to write it down, say, today I drew this, I added this color here, which didn't work. You can do all kinds of little documentations and create videos, make things that are more engaging to yourself while you're doing it. So when you're taking notes, use photos from the computer, add special effects into the notes and stuff, just so you're more interested in building a system for yourself. But I think that being creative is something that's a process. Like you said, it doesn't come overnight. So understand who you are first, right? Because I hear a lot of people coming in and saying, "Oh, I can't do this." I'm like, "Yeah, but what else can you do?" They're like, "Yeah, I'm an engineer or something." I'm like, "You can do that. I can't do that." So try not to compare yourself, but learn from others. Absorb what they're trying to teach you, and try to make it your own style, right? So don't just mimic them. Try to figure out what colors are going to work for you, what mediums are going to best suit you, and then focus in on that and try to excel in that. So
Oh my gosh, I completely agree. I love this. Is
awesome.
why I wanted, I'll be honest with you, this is part of the reason why I wanted to start doing this, is because as another creative, I completely understand what you're saying. I know exactly what you're thinking, and I'm like, yes, I know, I've been there, I've done that. I so understand. And being someone who's been scared to be creative, I also
Yeah.
understand that. And then being upset with myself for not being able to paint like my dad, or make music like my brother, or you know, write stories like somebody else. Those aren't my forte. Those aren't the things that I'm good at.
Exactly.
And that's what we need to work on. And that's with other creatives, new creatives, even those who are kind of getting back into it. I have to realize, you know, we all have something that we're good at. We just got to find it.
Exactly.
You know, so
Exactly.
now, do you have any advice? I mean, you and I are, no offense to the rest of the world, to us ourselves, but compared to some other artists, we're newbies. You know, we've been doing this for a while. We're getting our stuff together, but you know, there's always going to be someone that we're ahead of and someone that we're behind. What would you say to someone who's thinking, okay, well, my work is not as good as so and so's? Other than practice or just keep going, do you have any advice for those who maybe are comparing themselves to others?
I usually just tell them, you know, you need to stop comparing yourself and understand, look yourself in the mirror and say, who am I and who am I really representing as an artist or as a creative person? Who am I trying to reach? Who's my target audience? Am I doing this for from my heart, or am I doing this for money? Or, you know, try to figure out exactly who you are. So I would recommend, because I looked at myself in the mirror for like 15 minutes and I said, I found it. I found what I'm supposed to do, what my purpose is. But when you start comparing yourself to someone, you're insecure with yourself because you're trying to live up to their standards, not your own standards. So if you can do your own thing, and once you feel closure and you feel like you're happy with what you've put down, or which music you've created, anything, video editing or just making videos, drawing, singing, then you get closure. You get some kind of peace of mind. You can close the previous chapters in your life where you're saying, you know, I'm not going to compare myself to anyone anymore. If I do, it's going to be reaching myself to the next level and focusing in, because you'll always have people who are jealous, or they're trying to compare and trying to copy. That just shows that they're not using their own creativity, they're just mimicking. So I found out when people would come into my broadcast, they say, oh, SJ, I can't draw like you. I'm like, but what else can you do? Like, why are you saying this in the first place? Like, why are you comparing yourself to me? Because I'm my own person. I'm not focusing on comparing myself to you, right? And they're just like, oh, you're right. So then they're just like, thank you so much, you know. And you have to kind of just get that experience. It's through hands-on experience and life experiences when you find out that really, if you don't compare yourself, then you're going to excel at what you're doing because you're focusing on your own goal. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but
No, it does. It does.
okay.
It does. It makes complete sense. I mean, you know, if Max wants to know what you think about me, don't answer that question. No, I completely agree, but we all do it. So we have to understand that, you know, yes, we all compare ourselves to others, but we have to understand that we have to start with ourselves, and we can't improve ourselves and our art if we aren't practicing and There's no perfection. I really despise that word.
Yes.
Because to me, there is no perfection. We're perfect in our imperfections.
Yes.
So when you have a mistake or a failure or a piece that just doesn't work, put it aside, figure out what you can do with it later, and come back to it if you need to. What this is kind of a question that's been bugging me for a while. Hi, Max. SJ says hi. Don't call me. I won't call you. I won't call you. What are your thoughts about the idea of a creative not being able to survive in this world?
Oh, you mean like just monetarily, or?
Yeah, and not, I'm sure you've been told, or you've heard, or you've, somewhere along the world, along the way in your life, someone has implied that as an artist, you're not going to survive. You need to get a real job, or, actually, you had said something about it, if somebody works, oh, that's just a side job, but it's not a side job. It's like anything that you want to make your career, you have to work at it. If you want to make, I was reading this book about, I think it's called Girl Boss, about how a girl who had taken, buying vintage clothing and made that into $1 million business.
Yep.
It's the same thing with that, but we're using our art. So what are your thoughts on, as an artist, surviving in this world, and not just surviving, but thriving?
I would say prove them wrong, but you have to prove to yourself first, right? I've seen so many people fall off, like they've just stopped. They stopped using Periscope. They stopped trying. Don't stop trying. Keep going and prove them wrong. I love it when people say that oh, you're just doing a hobby. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go draw 10 more pictures tonight and stay up till 4 to prove them wrong. I'm gonna go and do this. I've drawn over 5,000 drawings in the past 2 years. Yeah, so a lot of people, they don't know that, and I've really tried to push the envelope every single day. And I think the key is you have to be unique. You have to tell the world who you are, because once you push that button, you're reflecting to the world who you are as an artist. And are they going to like you and find it valuable, or are they just going to walk away? Right? So when I started doing these like letterings, they're different. I see the lettering, I see things and characters inside of them, and I try to make them dance and move. And but I think right on your wall, go prove them wrong. I'm gonna actually do that after this broadcast, by the way.
I think you should. I completely think you should prove them wrong. Prove them wrong.
Because like I hear it all the time, but now I got like my family saying, go for it. In the past, it'd say, it's good you're trying and you're doing this, but my dad, who's a geophysicist in oil and gas for 42 years, is saying, you got this, man. I told him I'm transitioning from my job, and literally a lot of people are getting sick from their jobs. I go to my job every day and somebody comes in and makes my energy down, and it kills me. I'm like, I have no choice now. So you have to do this with urgency. Any talent, anything you think you're supposed to do, go for it every day and push yourself every single day, right? So I hear people that they like, I get so passionate about this. I just start talking, but on Periscope, when people come in, they're like, SJ, my work, sucked today. I'm like, well, do something about it. What are you going to do to get out of that job that's killing you? How are you going to survive outside? So,
sorry, somebody asked, so transitioning to what? So for you, transitioning from what would typically be considered a real job to what you want to do, which is being an artist full-time and being creative full-time. Transition to making that your income.
Yes, and it's hard. Okay, here's the number one thing I've learned. This is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Okay, I went to school for drafting for 8 months straight, 14 hours a day. That is nothing compared to this. Because if you're trying to grow art, which is one of the hardest fields, I honestly say, to make a steady income, because it's creative, right? You're not doing engineering for a building or something like that. But I honestly believe in your product, believe in yourself, believe in who you are, and then start doing things. Like I started developing like phone cases, like that. right?
That's gorgeous.
Thank you. So I just start channel your talent, but don't just limit it. You have to channel it into other channels. Okay. So what I do is I'll take the lettering and say, what if you put it on some shoes? What if you put it on some stickers? What if you put it on like a book cover? Because some people they will buy your book cover, they will buy your phone case. Someone might buy that pair of shoes. So that's important. And the not the craziest, but the coolest thing is my managers in finance for over 20 years are encouraging me. They're like, my uncle, he had his own art company and he sold it for $2.5 million. Own art company. And being from an oil and gas city, there's a lot of skepticism in creative people because they think you're not doing anything, you're wasting your time. But I would be so insecure that I would be scared to tell people I'm an artist. But when some people says, "What's your side job?" I say, "I'm an artist." You have to
I'm
say
an
it with
artist.
confidence.
Yeah, I'm an artist. I'm an artist, and my side job is is being an engineer. You have to flip it around. So in your mind, yeah, in your mind, seriously, in your mind, you have to flip it around. So I'm an artist. My side job is being an engineer.
Yes.
Doing the drafting. And once you can get that into your brain and get that to click, you are an artist.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's your mind, right? Because people are going to try to alter your mind. They're going to try to tell you you're wasting your time. But if you say, that person's wasting my time by telling me this, right?
Exactly.
So you can be whatever you want to be. I changed my bio, right? Because I changed it to artist, entrepreneur. I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur. I know this, right? In my heart, I've been sleeping, dreaming about this, eating, sleeping, living this. And if you believe really that's what you're supposed to do, it'll come true. But you have to put in the work. Don't sit back, don't watch TV and say, oh yeah, you know what, I'm gonna make $1 million. You gotta go and work for it. You know what I mean? Like, you have
to draw those 5,000 drawings and you have to keep going. 10,000.
That was my mission,
Yeah, isn't it for artists, for creative, not creatives, for athletes? Isn't it like 10,000 times of doing something, of imagining it in their mind and doing it physically and in their mind 10,000 times, and you're the best?
Yes. I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger said, put the mind into the muscle.
Yes.
Right. So that last rep that you're doing is mental. Like, it's, of course you're physically working out, but at the same time you're going, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna lift this, and then you get it and you're like, yes. Like, it's all about your mind and the psychology around your mind. I noticed that a lot of the people I deal with, I'm studying their psychology in front of me and I'm asking myself, are they happy with what they're doing? And a lot of people, they're always complaining about their lives and how they have to pay their bills. They have to do something about it. They can't just complain, right? They have to become effective as a productive member in society to make that extra income or whatever, or reach that. So
yeah, it's depressing to me sometimes how take the easy road.
Yes,
they take a few hard knocks and they're like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And no offense to those people, but you can't be an artist or an entrepreneur if that's the type of person that you are. Once you get into the role of things, and once you get on a track, being an artist and being an entrepreneur, it gets easier. It really does. But it's like getting that heavy locomotive going. You have to put in the tough times of going slow and having hidden tracks and, oh my God, and you've got something that gets in your way and you've got to stop. I've been off Periscope for 3 weeks, coming back strong. You can't let things stop you. You can't let these things cut you off and say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. So 2 more things. First off, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
First off, what kind of, I already know in my mind where you're going to be. I can see it. I already have it done, set. So if that's not going to be you, too bad. That's where you're going to end up. But what kind of legacy do you want to leave the world? I see you being massive, huge, being all over the world. You're already getting there with Periscope, but I just see it getting even bigger. But what do you see for your legacy that you leave in this world?
For me, and I'd probably say for everyone, you have to leave a footprint in this world. How did you affect someone else's life? Even if it's one person, how did you affect that person's life in a positive way? So when I started doing this, I said, I want to reach not just hundreds, I want to reach thousands, millions, but I know what it's going to take to get there. And it's a lot of commitment. So you have to really find out if you can or able to change someone's life for the better. And then if you can say that, then you're on the right track. You've actually left a footprint for someone else. It could be as small as, like I said, one person, or it could be millions of people. But don't expect it to just come to you. Okay, you have to go to it, right? And that's what I could say. Just footprint. Footprint in this world.
No, that's absolutely perfect. So, all right, so we're almost done. Before we go, again, because we did, I know this it's been absolutely fun, so much fun. So before we go though, I would like to have you just kind of like give us a quick screening of some of your work. I mean, you've done 5,000 pieces. Give us some of where you started, some in the middle, and then some where you are now. And let's do a slideshow here. I'm gonna sit back, be quiet, and you tell us what you got going on there.
Okay, sounds great. Hold on, let me just get my book here.
Okay.
And
yeah, 5,000, Leona. 5,000 drawings.
How do I flip this around though?
Turn your phone sideways, I believe. You'll have to physically turn your phone sideways. Sandeep is SJ's warrior. Got it? There we go. Oh, I'll be quiet now.
Okay.
You had it.
Okay, so turn my phone sideways. There.
Perfect.
And bring it down. Is it flipped around? No.
No. You're fine. You're fine. Just move it down so we can see your head. Thank you, Leona.
Oh, because I wanted to show my table.
But then you're gonna have to probably turn it over.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I can't see what I'm showing. If you guys can see that, can you see that?
Yes.
So here's something that's my logo.
Back up just a little bit.
Okay.
Move up. Say something so it goes back to your screen.
Hello.
Perfect.
Okay.
Now you have to, every time I talk, you have to talk again so that it goes back to you. Sorry.
Okay. So this one here, this is my logo, and there's an SJ, there's an S there, and an inverted J, but it started coming together with like arms and robotic stuff. So this is what it was leading up to, okay? But initially I started out by drawing these. So I started drawing these ones here. Oh my goodness, there's Tammy. Isn't that cool? I don't know if that's yours that I drew.
Yeah, that is. I remember you drawing it. I had to turn my head sideways. Sorry. I remember you drawing it. Yes, that is mine.
That's so cool. See, I kept these all together. Like I kept a bunch of them together. Okay. And this is what I started doing. Like the initial ones were the pencil ones. So here I was like, oh, Sarah, let me draw, and I was learning as I was going through. But during this time when I was drawing these ones, I started putting faces to the names, families to the faces, kids, and I started saying, wow, this is really all coming together now for me and what I'm trying to do. So Diego, he's in San Francisco. I think he had 2 kids. That was the beginning stages of when I was drawing these, right? So that's when I started realizing like people like, I don't know if you can see this, Helene, she's in Norway, she's studying to become a doctor, and she still talks to me on Twitter all the time, and it's been 2 years, so she's stuck around throughout that whole experiment and journey. Richard Bellers, he did the 100-hour scope. I don't know if you recall the 100-hour scope, but it was for mental health awareness.
I do. It was for mental awareness, correct? He was on scope for 100 hours. Yes. Raising awareness for mental disabilities. I remember him doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going through a little bit of a period when I was dealing with that. So we did this together. I don't even look at it as something that, I created this, because I wanted to put people's messages in from them around the border. So we got a few of them. For Squidgy, the mind is like a parachute. It only works if it opens. Veronica. So I tried to collectively do this and send it to him. This one here was for him again. So thank you, Richard Bellers. He had a huge impact. He actually ended up getting like 3 million hearts, and I don't know how many followers he got, but in the time frame of 5 days or something like that. Or so that was kind of crazy. Or how many days was it? Like, yeah, about 5 days. Here's some beginning stages of detailing with ink and stuff and pen and combining them. So there's Helene again after learning how to do it more in colored pencils. Raw, this one here has 2 words inside of it. So it says raw, but then it says 1LUV. So I started transitioning in the beginning stages to make words inside of words, which was really fascinating to me. Here's one for Christmas, right? All candy canes.
Hey, it's kind of, I gotta say this. It's kind of cool because I know where your work is now, and seeing your work then. I remember watching you work on these initial pieces, and I remember even specifically doing a Tammy and then doing another one. I was having a really down day, and you know said something about keeping my head up, and your work has progressed so amazing. I had to say something. I'm sorry. Go ahead, keep going.
Thank you. But like I said, it doesn't come easy. This has come with a lot of hard work, and how to move the pen properly to make sure the technique is smooth throughout. And it's times later, it's starting, and I'm still learning every day. Still learning every day. For example, the love design I did here is an original drawing manipulated, right? So that one there here took me 3 hours to draw, and it was this big. And then now I'm starting to use technology around it. So
Sorry,
I learned something.
It took you how long? You cut out. How long did it take you?
The actual lettering for this love took me 3 hours to design.
Wow.
It's very intricate and hard. Like, this is all freehand. I believe it. So with this, it's black and white. I inverted the colors. I started experimenting with technology on that. And that's my learn something new for today. You see, so you have to take something and take it to the next level and learn something new with that technology, or learn something new with your design. Don't just settle for the minimum with your creativity. Push yourself every day. And a lot of people, they don't find the motivation to do that. And I really encourage them when they come in. They say, I'm stuck, or I'll try to help them however I can. This one says Penny, Pennny. This is an art trade, Penney, sorry. And she does henna work on Periscope. So it's nice to put things that they do inside. She said she was a 6 out of 10. I put she's 11 out of 10 for henna work. She's amazing. So it's like the amazing 11-10 henna artist, right? So I want her to look at this, and I want her to feel happy when she sees it. Just bringing these things of joy into people's lives when they feel like they're not good enough, or it just makes me sad that they think like that. Here's this one's kind of blurry, but DiMario initially won the contest for this drawing. He has the original one, and I put his name around it. It said DiMario. It's kind of funny because it's like, DiMario, I love you. And we were just laughing so hysterically because I'm like, DiMario, I guess this is yours. You won. He's like, this is funny.
I love that though, but I love the way that you sent. And DiMario is an amazing cartoon artist. I'm going to be interviewing him, but his work is the same thing, and we encourage each other, and that's what I really love about creatives, is that we work hard to encouraging each other.
Absolutely. I got some of his stickers. I know he's going to do some good things in this world because his ideas are very unique, and I've never seen anything like that before, where you can have stickers as a comic. Like, I've never even thought of something like that. So he's brilliant that way. I think he's young. He's 15 years old or something. So he's got a lot of future ahead of him as well to really grow on these platforms, right? So by the time he's 30 or 31 or something, or like 32 like me, he probably will have a tremendous reach, right? So I love to have fun with like effects. So I don't know if you can see this, but if I hold these up to the light, they glow, right? So that's my learn something new for the day. Glow effects on like drawings. So you look at it down this way, and it's just a regular picture, but it lights up. These things light up under the lights. It's really neat stuff. And here's the lips one. So it just kind of brings it out a little bit. And here, I'll show you. This is
So
Chinese.
these are the kind that you kind of need to put in a frame that's open in the back and hang it in a window. That's actually amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. It's like natural light, you know, like I'm trying to experiment with that. So this says love in Chinese, right? So that's the Chinese character for love. Doing things like cartoons, right? I love to draw, just try to draw a little bit of everything, you know. I'll show you this one for Halloween. This is Jessica Rabbit. This one got a lot of attention. And the funny thing is, because I drew this on Periscope, I think it was 3 weeks into Periscope in black and white and pencil, and someone said, "Can you draw it in color?" And I said, "No, I can't." And then now I can draw it in color. So it's the progress of the black and white to the color. So I challenged myself to say, you know what? I'm going to try to learn how to do this in color now. I think I'm ready to learn. So push yourself. Here's the Halloween. There's like a bunch of pumpkins inside the pumpkin. Can you see it? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just a whole bunch of pumpkins combined into one.
Yeah,
So
I can see it vaguely. I can kind of see it. It's hard to see.
Is it? Yeah, it's a bit tricky. The detailing is very small. So here's some phone cases, which I guess people are really kind of interested in these phone cases. So that's a sunset painting / drawing, and the person's name is on the bottom. So I started combining the names with the other elements of the artwork. And here's one for April. So little by little, you know, every single time, use your talent and channel it into other things. So I use my art and put it into phone cases now. Like this for Kendra. And Kendra was around since day one. And we still talk on Facebook. We still keep in touch. I talk about her son. Hopefully her son's doing good. And, you know, I draw little things here and there for them just to make them happy if they're feeling down. Now, I had this raffle. I'll show you one quick thing, and hopefully it's not taking too long, Tammy.
No, you're fine. Keep going.
Oh, cool. Okay. So this is the art raffle I was doing, right? And this is all freehand. This is all just having fun, you know, getting lost, putting my headphones on, and just getting some lettering done. And inside was this package here. So it's like the Pikachu that this took me 6 hours to draw initially, but I focused in on the lettering around it. You see that? So it's like Pikachu, but then the lettering is kind of popping out a bit more. This one here for frogs. I love frogs. They just, when someone came into my broadcast and they said they were feeling down, I'm like, look at this for a few minutes and tell me if you can smile. And they're like, it worked. So I thought that was great. Some macaws.
That one's cool. I like that one.
Thank you. And this actually happened by mistake because I had my finger here and I had a fingerprint on this. So I'm like, how am I going to cover that up? So I started using the white to cover it up and I'm like, oh, and I just kept going all the way around. It was really fun. Really, really fun.
See, that's one of the things that we actually probably should have talked about, but I didn't think about is what happens when you make a mistake. You know, if you have something that you mess up, don't throw it away.
Yeah.
You know, don't toss it. Put it aside, and then if you decide you want to come back to it, try and fix it right then. If it doesn't work, you can find some other use for it.
You're absolutely right. Yep. And somebody told me, he said, there's no such things as mistakes, only corrections to be made. So I think he's right. You know, there's only corrections to be made. So I would probably just say that was a correction.
Yep.
The other one, which I had was, a story. I was so close to throwing out a drawing, and it ended up being the most popular on Periscope. And somebody owns that piece, and I'm like, oh no, because I gave it away in a contest. But it was like a purple eye, and I was drawing people's names inside of the eyelid, like just underneath the eyelid. But I retained that. I have those, and you can see here, there's like teardrops, teardrop shapes for the names right there. See? So I kept this part. I put Lauren, she's Sound of Boots. She does music on Periscope. Helene again from Norway. Tiffany. Leona. Oh my God, I think that was Leona. It could be either Leona I can't remember her last
Matuzak?
name.
Matuzak?
Yeah, it could be her, or it could be
Crest-
another Leona, but that was the contest, and I don't have the eyepiece. The other guy won the contest, so it's nice to just hold on to little elements if you do give your original away. If you can retain some of the elements there and hold on to them as memories, you treasure them. You know, you treasure them and you remember them. You can pass them down to your kids. You can tell them, you know, this was a great story on Periscope. Use these as memories, like use these as treasured memories, right? I really encourage that. I got like Christmas cards that I'm working on here, and just it's so much fun, you know. But literally, it's all over the place. Like there, you know, I got stuff on my bed over there, so it's kind of a
It's
hassle to clean up, but it's
still,
totally worth it.
yeah, and it's cool because when you surround yourself with your creativity, then you keep going. You don't stop. You know, I know it's difficult for those of us who have to put our stuff away, and I was at a point in my life where I had to put that stuff away,
Yeah.
and that's actually what held me back, was not being able to have my artwork out and around me. But hey Dee, so SJ, this was absolutely phenomenal. I
This is
had a
great.
blast.
Yeah.
Thank you again for your patience on the first try of this.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
really thank you very much. We're gonna get going. So this is Tammy with a couple adventures. We're gonna be doing these from now on. My dog is starting to freak out. I apologize. He wants to get out. This is live. This is real. So this is the way this works. This is Tammy with a couple adventurers. This has been hashtag Creative Innovators. And our first interview was with SJ, Sandeep Joshi.
Give yourself a round of applause, Tammy. This was great.
Phenomenal
Awesome.
artist, moving up and going and doing his thing and making this
Thank you so
something
much.
that he's going to be doing. He is actually taking his creative adventure and starting and deciding and doing what he's doing with his life.
It's
So I
passion.
know
It's
every
passion.
single one of us can do it. Right?
Yes, definitely. Thanks again,
Agreed.
Tammy. This was
All right.
great. Okay. Keep up the
Thank
great
you
work.
very much, SJ. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.